Derek, I know who it is. Got to write the name. Got to write it down. I can't see. Gotta get the light on again.
Passage of the Tangmar. The story of a ship, death.
Pencil. Been very clever, but this time we've got the truth. Write it down. Right.
I heard the shots as I made my way to the deck. I'd waited since 5 in the afternoon for the killer to accept my challenge, to fall for the bluff that I knew his or her identity and intended to make the arrest that night. And then, shortly before 6 bells on the 8 to midnight watch, Lee Blake had come to my cabin and we'd decided that the trick hadn't worked. As I sprinted back to my cabin, I knew that I'd given up too soon. The killer was only waiting his chance. I almost tripped over Blake's body as I pushed through the door, and then I was kneeling beside the man who'd taken the bullets meant for me. The man I'd left alone in the cabin only a few minutes before.
Derek, we were wrong.
Who was it, Lee? Did you see who it was?
Yeah. Turned the light off and fired.
The name, Lee.
Could see against the light outside the door. Clear. Derek, it was... Derek, you've turned the light off again.
Lee! Lee!
Kendall, are you... Blake?
Yes, Skipper.
I heard the shots. Is he...
Would you get Dr. Lawler, Captain?
You mean he's still alive?
Just get the doctor. Fast.
Be right back, Kendall. Well, there's nothing to be alarmed. Nothing to be worried about. Just go back to your cabins.
Lee, I'll find whoever killed you if it's the last thing I do.
Well, Kendall, what does Lawler think?
I knew Lee was dead before I sent you for the doctor, Skipper.
And why?
I want the bullets that killed him. Dr. Lawler's getting them for me now. He's going to report here to your cabin when he's through.
How did it happen?
Well, he came to my cabin and we talked the whole thing out. We decided the person we were after hadn't risen to the bait. I was fool enough to leave Lee alone. He wanted to have another look at Prettyman's will.
So it was you who was meant to die?
It was. And Lee saw the person who fired the shots. He tried to write the name down, and then he tried to tell me the name, but he died before he could do either. I found this pencil on the floor and a piece of paper. He'd forced himself up after he was shot and went to the desk and collapsed.
Had he managed to write anything?
This. What do you make of it?
Well, it looks like the start of a letter C.
That's right, that's what I thought, too. But have another look. It could have been the start of an S, or an A, or a G.
Yeah, then it's not much help.
None at all.
But there's got to be some clue. This is beginning to look like Ben Miller all over again.
No, there's nothing, Skipper. By the way, do you have a gun?
I do. To the best of my knowledge, apart from yours, it's the only gun on the Tangmar. I'll get it for you. Smith & Wesson, 32. It's right here under... I saw it only this afternoon. I was making up the log.
Is it missing?
It can't be. I haven't moved it in years, apart from cleaning it and... Here it is. You must be getting absent-minded in my old age.
Either that or it's the gun that killed Lee and the murderer put it back in the wrong drawer by mistake. A man in a hurry might do that, Skipper.
Now, wait a minute. You don't think that
No, Skipper, I don't. But that knife was taken from your cabin, remember? I dare say practically everyone aboard would expect the captain to have a gun.
But I tell you, I saw it only this afternoon.
Would you be prepared to swear to that?
I don't know. I'm so used to seeing it there.
Exactly. So used to seeing it. Whenever you take out the log. But I doubt if you could be certain that the last time you saw it was this afternoon. Or yesterday, or the day before that, for that.
Now, look here, Kendall. I'd soon notice if it was missing, I'm sure of that.
Well, until I hear from Dr. Lawler, there's no point in speculating anyway.
There must be some clue to the killer's identity. There has to be.
There's nothing. I went through that cabin with a fine-tooth comb.
And you're convinced that the murderer mistook Blake for you?
Yes, I am. Why? Are you thinking of Challoner?
I had a report on a row in the dining room tonight between Blake and Major Challoner. I understand the Major was furious. Something about Blake chasing his daughter.
He came to my cabin after that, prepared to swear that Blake was the killer we were after.
What?
Wanted to bring it to you. Until I pointed out that we knew it wasn't Blake. Tried to say that Lee was the one who attacked me on the deck with a knife.
But that was Jones. We know that.
But the Major didn't. He left my cabin in full retreat.
You feel pretty badly about this, eh, Dirk?
Well, if it hadn't been for me, Blake would still be alive.
The traveling American, he called himself.
He was more than that, Skipper. Does the name Blake mean anything to you? His father owns the Tangmar.
What?
He was aboard to protect the family's interest. Been helping me all along the line.
Who's going to tell his father?
Well, he has to be told.
I didn't even know old man Blake had a son.
This was Lee's first job for the shipping firm. To see that the Tangmar got through to Jamaica without further trouble.
The old man has paid a mighty high price for this charter. I just wish I'd never heard of the Wherryman estate.
Skipper, Lee must have had his back to the door when he was killed. That means as far as the murder is concerned, I'm the one who's dead.
Well, how does that help us?
It might. Providing we can keep Lee's death quiet. For tonight, anyway. Look, I'm going to talk to each of the passengers in turn and then the crew. Find out where they were and what they were doing between 10:45 and 11 p.m. Someone on this ship is going to get one heck of a shock to find that Dirk Kendall is still alive.
Yeah. Is that you, Doctor?
Yeah.
Come in.
I got what you wanted, Doc.
Oh, thanks. I'm sorry you had to be dragged out of bed.
On this ship, I'm beginning to expect almost anything. Here you are.
There is another gun somewhere on this ship. These are from a .38 caliber. Dr. Lawler, have you talked to anyone about this?
No, no one.
Well, good. Don't. Tonight, anyway. I'm going to call on a few people, Skipper. I'll report to you on the bridge if I find out anything.
Who's the first one on the list?
A certain Army Major, Captain Goddard, by the name of Basil Challoner.
Come in. Kendall, I thought you were...
Go on, Major Challoner. You thought I was... what?
Well, I was going to say, in your cabin writing that report for Colonel Hacking.
Oh, I see. You haven't heard anything out of the ordinary tonight, I suppose? No pistol shots, nothing like that.
I heard the shooting, yes.
But it didn't concern you enough to make you want to find out what it was.
Aren't you forgetting something? I told you days ago that I intended to reach Jamaica alive. Investigating shots could prevent that.
Major, you seemed a little surprised when I came in just now. Why?
But after the tone of our discussion earlier, you were the last person I expected to pay me a visit at this hour of the night.
Have you seen Lee Blake tonight, Major?
Not since dinner, no. My Kendall. Don't tell me that you're bringing me good news.
Is it good?
That Blake is dead? Well, I rather think so. Saves me the trouble of having to deal with him myself.
And how would you have done that?
I might even have killed him if he continued to see Sharon. Is Blake dead?
He was shot in the back, in my cabin. But he saw the person who killed him.
But how? Didn't you say he was shot in the back?
The force of the impact must have spun him around, and he lived long enough to tell me who shot him.
Well, then why don't you arrest the person? Kendall, I don't see what you hope to achieve by telling me all this. Seems to me that you've done a lot of talking lately, talking that you haven't managed to back up with any firm action. I thought tonight was the occasion of the unmasking, as it were, of the villain of the piece. Now it seems that someone else has been killed. And if Blake had told you this person's identity, you wouldn't be wasting valuable time talking to me now. And it won't wash, Kendall. You're in the dark about this whole thing, aren't you?
You like the thought of that, don't you?
You know, I didn't really fall for this bluff of yours from the first. If you knew who the murderer of Miller was, you'd hardly waste time making out a report on it while he was free to kill again.
You say he?
Figure of speech. Killer is a rather masculine word.
Do you possess a gun, Major Challoner?
I do.
Caliber what?
38, Kendall. Would you like to see it?
Major Challoner was enjoying himself, laughing at my questions. And I found myself thinking back to Miller's death and the Major's weak alibi. Was he the murderer I sought in this passage of the Tangmar?